Hello Internet, I'm your only mate, and it's time for another episode of Death Battle. This time we have two characters I'm really not familiar with. I'm sorry. But their names are Mob from Mob Psycho 100 and Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. Now, as I should say with all reaction videos, especially to Rooster Teeth content, please click the link in the description below to go watch the actual episode itself. If you're watching the YouTube link, be sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. Then come back to watch this. If you're watching it on the Rooster Teeth site, make sure to go there. Watch everything Rooster Teeth makes there first. Sign up for first membership if you can. Best way to support all the shows on Rooster Teeth that you love, including Death Battle, just saying. Then come back to watch this. Okay? Good. Support the official release. Alright, first things first. This. This is going to be in every video I make from now on. I got it at MCM London. It's signed by Aaron Zek and Barbara Donkerman, respectively. It's one of my favourite moments in RWBY, and I love it. Just getting that out of the way. So, like I said, I do not know these characters in the slightest. I mean, maybe some, like, basic stuff, like, Mob's essentially like a psychic Saitama in some ways, but at the same time, not... I don't know, that's just the way that... He just comes across that way to me. And Tatsumaki is a really powerful psychic from the world of One Punch Man. My friend Jaru really reckons that Tatsumaki should win. And from what I've seen, quite a few people think that. I did a poll on Twitter, like I always do, with like, whose side are you on? And it was really close, but in the end, Tatsumaki won. So, at the moment, I kind of want to say she would win. But I don't know. So, I'm just going to wait to see what Wisdom Boomstick say. And then make my final prediction. So, I'm going to put these on. Spectral Star is going to steal that, because he is a butt. Yeah, shots fired. And I will shut the fuck up and hit play.
There are plenty of talented people in the world, but
hey,
then,
Bradley, Limitless.
have the honor of
I
being
watched that
called
movie once.
Prodigy.
But being a prodigy can get to one's head. Or one's head, if you know what I'm saying. Because, you know, the guy who made both these characters is called one.
Okay.
So,
that's clever.
yeah.
Mob, the reluctant psychic powerhouse from Mob Psycho 100.
And Tatsumaki, the fearless, ferocious Esper from One Punch Man. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Just thought it would be a good idea to flip my phone upside down.
As a citizen of Seasoning City, you would probably be familiar with the local criminal group Claw.
Maybe even the famous sex symbol and so-called greatest psychic of the century, Reagan.
But you probably wouldn't think twice about this plain-looking boy with a bowl cut, Shigeo Kageyama.
Long story short, he's
Probably
a
not, no.
remarkable student of Salt Middle School. He's the kid you picked last for dodgeball.
Body improvement club.
Taking up space,
Food,
and stealing your air.
The kanji
Ramen is
name
good, so
even
is milk.
read
I
as
hope you're
Claw,
watching the
which
sky.
means bland and boring.
Fair enough.
Really, everybody calls him that.
So
To
you
each their
might
own.
be surprised to learn that he accidentally took over a local gang, unintentionally founded his own cult, and is an incredibly powerful psychic warrior.
Huh.
Don't get it mixed up. This isn't your typical superhero secret identity shenanigans. Bob doesn't really give a shit about any of these things. He's just out there trying to fit in by joining the Body Improvement Club, which he sucks horribly at.
Oh. I've been
come
there.
on, man. Running's not that hard. Take it from me, and I've got a shotgun for a leg.
Still, when his life is in danger or his friends need protection,
Jesus.
Mob's psychic ability manifests as something truly phenomenal.
He's mega powerful. He might not be able to run a mile without fainting, but he totally can if he boosts his body psychically. He can fly through the air, fling objects all over the place, throw psychic energy attacks, lift giant buildings, cause city-spanning earthquakes, whip up huge
City-spanning
monsters,
earthquakes,
and
okay.
more.
He's not just an offensive powerhouse, he can mold his psychic energy around his body as a shield.
Mind control
While this isn't
resistance.
an uncommon technique in Mob's world, it's incredibly useful for him in particular, as he's one of the few psychics who can actually attack and defend simultaneously.
Oh, well, that's handy. Jeez.
Fighting a bunch
I think I was
of
getting
evil spirits
pinballed.
all at once. Oh, talk about weird looking. Wiz, you sure he's not just like tripping balls or something?
No, but
That would explain a
kind
lot
on
of
the
series, let's
track.
be
These
honest.
psychic powers are directly linked to emotions. The more sad, angry, rejected, and so on that you feel, the more powerful your psychic abilities become.
Hey, Wiz,
Ah.
punch me.
What?
Punch me! I need to get really angry so I can do psychic stuff.
Really?
My grand can hit harder than you. Wow. You think it'll work if I'm just so embarrassed about having a friend like you?
That's better.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Wiz, but the
fact
last
that
couple
Mob's
times were
psychic powers are drawn
pathetic.
from his emotions is a conundrum in and of itself. See, when Mob was a child, in attempt to use his powers,
That
without
reminds me of a
injuring
scene from
his
The
younger
Inbetweeners.
brother. This tragedy would scar Mob forever, terrifying him of his own ability. As a result, he suppressed his emotions for years.
But just like a needy ex, they'd still boil up in bad situations. Us readers got to see them rise with a handy percentage counter. When it hits 100%, Mob goes all out like a Super Saiyan. He can even absorb psychic energy while in 100 mode.
Oh, we can absorb that.
Mob's
Okay.
limits, far from it. Suppressing his powers had an unprecedented effect on his psyche. His power became an entity of its own within Mob's mind,
The fuck?
representative of his repressed self.
And when things get real bad, it takes over his body in a blind rage. Or blind
So,
sadness.
question mark, question mark, question mark,
Whatever
percent?
he's feeling at the time.
In this unmeasurable state, Mob's true prowess is revealed, and it's extraordinary. His sheer psychic aptitude increases at an alarming rate, including his absorption ability.
My powers are being sucked in by Kageyama. All of the energy in the atmosphere. Are you telling me his vessel is able to handle this much?
And while he is often
Apparently.
unconscious while his inner self
Quarter
takes
bolt
over,
of lightning,
his
okay, that's
questionable state
fast.
will continue trying to achieve whatever his most recent objective may be, whether that's taking on the criminal organization Claw or confessing how he feels to his crush.
All right, I get it. The guy's super strong. So let's figure out just how much psychic power he's got bottled up. Check this out. While smashing this ugly joke through a building, he went from 0 to kick-ass so fast, he caught fire.
Taking his feet literally, to get this result, he would have to be reaching an ablation speed over 5 times the speed of sound.
Fast,
Wow.
but not as fast as a bolt of lightning, which he was quick enough to catch with his shield.
That's not all. In his duel with Claw's boss, Toichiro, Mob took this huge crushing hit. Nailing his
Jesus!
massive handprint crater to a nearby building, that one, and applying the resulting fragmentation of rock. We found Mob survived an attack worth over 80 tons of TNT.
Nah, that's small time for Shiggy. In the same fight, he psycho lifted hundreds of buildings into the air. Look at that
Oh
thing.
my
Suddenly, I have an
fuck.
unshakable urge to go play Katamari Damacy.
What the hell?
Somehow these things will make some stars.
Ahem, not only is that millions of tons of stone and concrete, but simply creating this orb pushed away the clouds.
Okay,
Huh.
I know what you're thinking. Guys, that's not impressive. Clouds are just fluffy balls of cotton candy. Now I hear you. I thought so too. But turns out that's not true at all. Unfortunately, to move clouds in real life, you need a frickin' hydrogen bomb.
So it's quite impressive when on another occasion, Mob gathered all these clouds himself.
Oh my
By
fucking
measuring
God.
the area and multiplying by average cloud density, this feat comes out to around 30 gigatons of TNT.
Jesus!
Times the combined destructive capabilities of all the nuclear warheads in the world.
Are these guys gonna destroy the planet when they fight?
For example, once while absorbing an explosive attack, he reached a definitive limit, though he compensated by redirecting all that psychic energy into some broccoli seeds.
What the fuck?
Interesting results.
Oh man,
Broccoli.
It's gonna be hard to hide that one under the table.
In time, Mob eventually
Yeah.
reconnected with his repressed self, fully accepting his past and his powers.
So look out, he may look like a total dork, but this is one middle schooler you don't want to try stealing lunch money from.
Can you feel it? Rage.
Okay, I'm finally done with that. Alright.
In a
What you
world
got,
filled with
Tatsumaki?
monsters and villains which threaten the survival of humanity on a daily basis, it's a stroke of luck that mankind has its fair share of saviors in the form of superheroes.
And some of these heroes are so powerful they can crush all the baddies without even laying a finger on them.
These are espers, superhumans who possess powerful psychic abilities.
And one of them is a girl named Tatsumaki. What
The
Is
fuck?
this real? Why did she have cinnamon rolls stuck on her face?
Well, let's just say one is more well known for his excellent storytelling than, say, his art. Regardless, Tatsumaki's psychic abilities were
Okay, then.
extraordinary, even at a young age. So much so, she was taken from
Favorite
her
hobby
family
being
to
a
be
brat.
detained and studied at a research
So I've heard.
She was 7 years old.
So, not the best childhood, obviously. Lucky for her,
Obsessed with
she got
candy
out
apples.
thanks to a surprise rescue by the
Mistake or
hero
obsessive
called
child.
Blast.
Wow.
Ooh, Blast things? I guess? No one really knows.
Either way, Blast's rescue changed Tatsumaki's life forever, and he left her with one very important lesson. When the time comes, don't expect someone to save you.
That's kinda harsh. He is supposed
Just
to be
a tad.
superhero, right?
Whether it be she was inspired by his heroism or torn by his contradiction, Tatsumaki decided to take up hero work for herself. Thus, she took up the mantle, Tornado of Terror.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't that sound more like a supervillain name? And you might mistake her for one too, cause she's kind of a brat.
Well, she is the best at what she does, and she knows it. So she
Okay,
often
from that
seems
shot,
arrogant and
I
rude.
can see
With
what the
her
internet's on about
psychokinesis,
with
she
her.
often floats above her opponents, looking down on them literally and figuratively.
Her favorite thing to do is
I'm not gonna
throw
actually
rocks at
say it.
people. Big rocks, small rocks, rocks from outer space, doesn't matter. If it's vaguely rock-shaped, it's flying at you. But she doesn't discriminate. She's also fine throwing other things like trains, schools, people, even a giant octopus.
Not only that,
Hmm.
but she can alter the direction of gravity, create town-spanning barriers, twist the human
Town-spanning
body,
barriers.
cause magnitude 8 level earthquakes, and spin up enormous whirlwinds. Fitting for her namesake.
And that's not even half of it. She's the most powerful Esper of them all, even better than her older sister, Fubuki.
Actually, that's her younger sister.
Wait. Man, anime's real confusing.
But given her past,
Yeah, it
even
can
with her
be.
sister beside her, Tatsumaki has some serious trust issues.
She doesn't even want Fubuki to have friends. Chill out, lady. Friends are important.
Yeah.
Liz?
I'm sorry, what?
I mean, mother.
Well, he had his chance.
Anyway,
That was actually a
objects and
thing
organisms
thing
was
scene
only
for that.
part of her skill set. Tatsumaki's power truly shines.
The
when
fuck
it
was
comes
happening
to
in that scene?
precision.
Oh yeah, she's so talented, she can use her crazy mind power to have full control over television!
Yeah, sure, but that's not really what I had in mind.
Change! Change!
Well, Tatsumaki has some level of control over a person's chi, or as it's known in
Oh,
traditional
God,
Chinese culture,
Boomstick.
vital life force. If she can overpower her opponent, she
Jesus.
can use their own chi to disable or even kill them.
I'm psychic!
Against other espers, she can spiral her own energy to redirect theirs, and even suppress their powers in an instant.
Yeah, Lady Tornado can block their psychicness whenever she wants, so long as they're a weaker Esper than her. Which basically means everyone.
Okay.
One Punch Man, meet the One Thought Woman. Seriously, this chick is so powerful she pulled a meteor from outer space.
Well, while that move is pretty well known, it technically is not canon to the original source material. However, that doesn't mean it's off the table. As it turns out, her other accomplishments prove she's more than powerful enough to pull it off.
Just look at her lifting up.
Fair
this-
enough.
What am I looking at here?
Good question. Thankfully, one was kind
What the
enough to
fuck is
include these
that?
lovely labels identifying Z City and an underground hideout. Now,
Oh.
Tatsumaki is psychokinetically lifting the entire hideout.
Oh,
which is
that's
the
what's
city to
happening.
reach
I
over
could not make that out.
1,500 meters deep. As for the city, the world of One Punch Man is based on real-life locations in Tokyo. So at the very least, we could compare Z City to a smaller district like Ginza, which consists of about 215 acres. With the size of an
Okay.
average building in that district in mind, and thus scaling the building to the hideout and then to Ginza, we found that Tatsumaki must be lifting over 3 billion tons of rock.
That's like
Wow.
lifting the entire Great Wall of China 62 times. More than powerful enough to pull a meteor from the sky.
When the alien invader Boros attacked City A with a hailstorm of giant bullets, she was fast enough to stop them in mid-air and turn them back on the enemy ship. Scaling these bullets to the height of a human and gauging by the amount of damage they could cause, the bullets must have been moving 1,800 times faster than sound.
She's tough enough to survive an attack that's 300 times the Earth's gravity, which probably explains why she could push through crazy G-forces while flying and fighting against the One Punch Man himself, Saitama.
By looking at the distance they flew in such a short
I'm becoming
time frame,
torn.
they were likely moving more than 36 times the speed of sound.
Which is awesome, but she still didn't win the fight.
It was
Of
actually
course.
a rather humbling experience for her, finally realizing that perhaps she isn't the most powerful person alive.
I mean, all espers have limits, including Tatsumaki. Their psychic power drains them of energy, so they can get worn out to a point where they can't do their psycho magic for a while.
Also, she generally has to focus exclusively on either offense or defense. So when she's on the
Okay.
attack, her guard is lowered, something a skilled enough opponent can certainly take advantage of. Also, should an esper like Tatsumaki suffer a serious head injury, their powers become more difficult to use.
So maybe she's not quite the unstoppable goddess she thought she was. And after getting that memo, she finally loosened up a bit. She even let her sis hang out with her friends instead of throwing them into a wall or something.
Huh.
Yet, at the end of the day, the idea that anyone could even hope to match the Tornado of Terror's pure psychic power seems laughable.
You disgust me. Get lost.
What's with the attitude from this lost child?
Boss. Okay. Okay, I admit I'm torn. So, Mob could react to lightning. I didn't hear anything about that from Tatsumaki, although they did say that those bullets were moving at, like, so-and-so speed, so I don't know if it's comparable or, like, the same thing. Well, it was, like, many times faster than sound, but, okay, they also went into how Mob could, like, do psychic energy, like, around, like, so many gigatons of TNT. I didn't really hear anything that powerful for Tatsumaki, although the lifting the hideout was impressive. But the things that really get me are Mob can absorb psychic energy, and he can actually, like, focus on both offense and defense at the same time, whereas Tatsumaki can't. But then again, like, all the sources I've looked at say that, well, people, like, I've seen say Tatsumaki should win, and the amount of times I've gone against that, I always lose. But at the same time, I just don't know. If I had a coin, this would be when I flip it. Fuck. I'm actually kind of looking for one right now. I don't have any, like, on my person. Hang on. Okay, heads Tatsumaki, tails... No, wait, heads Mob, tails Tatsumaki is what I meant to say. Okay, tails, so I'm going with Tatsumaki. And play.
Alright, the combatants are set.
And we run the data through all possibilities. It's time for a death battle! To be honest, regardless of who wins, I'm not really attached to either character or either series anyway, so
I'm lost.
whatever happens, happens. And yes, I've seen the preview on Death Battle Cast,
Can
so...
you help me? Do you go to the middle school here?
Middle school? Know your place.
Ow. And he's just like, well, that happened.
You shouldn't use your powers on others.
Now that is a beautiful shot there. And this animation is gorgeous.
You think you're impressive? I'll crush you in 5 seconds flat.
It's getting higher. Now the fact that Tatsumaki's just dominating, it sort of makes me think Mob might turn this around and win. but I don't know.
To teach you a lesson.
That is a cool shot. Ow.
By the way, just so you know. This is your fault.
Oh! I mean, yeah, you did kind of start it. Oh, shit. Jesus. This is gonna get nuts. Yeah, just left an entire well, but not the entire. Oh Christ!
How easy.
Well, that happened a bit sooner than I would expect, but hey, he's gone like full-on bonkers mode now.
You think you're a big shot? Try this.
I mean, you both kind of think that, but whatever. And here comes the meteor. If that doesn't work, then Tatsumaki's done. Maybe. I don't know. Jesus. Fucking hell, that's... Oh! Okay.
Should pay more attention.
He's gonna catch that, isn't he? What happened? Oh. Okay, she won. Okay.
Nobody beats me.
Okay.
Whoa, that was
The coin was right.
sure Mob would win with his sucking power.
This was an incredibly close
I
match.
thought that
Honestly,
too a
if we were
little.
to run through this fight 100 more times, Mob could reasonably win 40 or so of them.
But we're not here to find out who wins 40% of the time. Mob had tons of awesome abilities, which gave Tatsumaki a hard time. But she still had the stuff to pull off a win more times than not.
Right. First of all, Tatsumaki had a notable advantage when it came to training and experience.
She's a top-ranked superhero who was trained from 7 years old, fighting a middle schooler who
Of
never wanted to
course.
use his powers in the first place.
She was faster too, given her reaction against Boros' bullets moving over 617,000 meters per second.
Sure, Mob reacted to friggin' lightning, but believe it or not, that's still technically slower.
See, a lightning bolt technically has two different speeds to consider. First, for the slower leader of ionized air going down, and second, for the faster flash going up. Given that Mob was reacting to a projectile moving down towards him, this can only mean he was reacting to the leader, which moves 98,000 meters per second, more than 6 times slower than Tatsumaki.
So, even though
Okay.
Mob had the edge of being able to attack and defend at the same time, Tatsumaki was a lot quicker than him. So she could switch between attacking and defending fast enough to counter Mob whenever she really
Fair
wanted
enough.
to.
Still, that alone doesn't mean Mob couldn't have eventually scored a fatal blow. All of this would mean nothing if Tatsumaki couldn't overpower Mob's absorbing shield.
His awesome power of suck.
Right, we know Mob's sucking shield had a limit given how he
Sucking
was forced to
shield.
transfer absorbed energy into those seeds, growing a massive head of broccoli in an instant. We can actually use this broccoli to get a general idea of Mob's absorbing limits. Broccoli typically requires 143 kilojoules of energy to grow 1/10 of a kilogram's worth. Scaling this giant one to the nearby buildings, we found it to be 21 million times larger than the
That's
average broccoli.
figuring
This
out how
means
powerful
Mob
someone
must
is by
transfer
scaling
enough energy
broccoli.
To about 1.6 megatons of TNT.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, but how about the energy Tatsumaki used to stop
This is
and
weird.
redirect those giant bullets? Those things are huge, solid shells with no explosive component, given how Saitama here was able to crush one without triggering a big kaboom. And they could wipe out a whole city.
We're shown that the shells destroyed most of City A in one shot, and we can see how much damage they dealt to Boros' ship when Tatsumaki turned them around. With this data in mind, the height of Boros' ship, and the already calculated bolt speed, we determined the energy she displayed here must have equaled at least 470 gigatons of TNT.
Whoa.
Way more than Mob's big cloud feet, and more than enough to
Okay.
shatter his shield all at once. Tatsumaki was just too damn powerful. And it's not like Mob could absorb giant rocks thrown at him either.
Certainly, Mob's unique powers were generally passive and defensive, whereas Tatsumaki's were better suited to precision strikes and deadly blows. Once Mob's barrier was down, she had plenty of options for wrapping things up. whether it be blocking his psychic power, controlling his chi, or simply crushing him herself.
And her powers weren't dependent on her feelings, so she was always at full strength, no matter
Oh,
what
I
the
didn't
situation
think
was.
about that.
Mob certainly had the skill and ability to put up an incredibly close fight, but Tatsumaki's experience, speed, and power put an end to this prodigious battle.
She just had
Okay.
the experience she needed.
The winner
I like
is
that one.
Tatsumaki.
Congrats, Tatsumaki. And congrats to the coin I flipped for calling it right.
If you want the battle music for yourself, you can get by clicking the link down below, and you can check out more of our stuff right over there.
Alright, what's the penultimate episode?
Battle season without Deadpool.
Wait, Deadpool?
Deadpool, right? Deadpool, right?
Hey, Boomstick.
Yeah, Wiz.
I think I might
Please?
know a way to get rid of Deadpool once and for all.
Oh. I got hopeful on the next time, but... let's just talk about this. That was a bonkers fight, let's just say that. Those two were absurd. And honestly, like, round in the end, I thought, like... I don't know, Mob was about to win when he was, like, twisting Tatsumaki's limbs all over the place. But... hey, just like that, well... no one ever suspects a meteor, I guess. Let's just say that. And that was some really well-done hand-drawn animation, like, thrown in there. I especially love that shot at the beginning when Tatsumaki, like, takes that building, throws it at a mob, then he redirects it back at her. Like, that whole, like, thing there. That was beautiful. Like, I love that especially. As for the next time, though, I saw Deadpool and got really, really hopeful. Because there is a matchup I would have liked for Deadpool. And it's Deadpool versus Dante from Devil May Cry. And they show Deadpool, but he's not fighting Dante. So I was a bit gutted. But I hear a lot of people also requested for Deadpool to fight people like The Mask, so I guess that works too. It's just something that I would have liked to see. Because honestly, when me and my friends talk about the matchup, we can't really come up with a solid answer. So it's just... that's one of the reasons we'd have loved to see it. But... there goes another one. Although I have to admit, like... advertising it as Let's Kill Deadpool... I mean, yeah, in universe it makes sense, because it's like, hey, could the Mask put Deadpool down? Like, that sort of thing, yeah, wasn't mostly being hopeful, because, well, you know, he's always showing up. Well, not always, it's like, how many times has he appeared? Like, okay, I actually did think about this, like, complaint people have had, of, like, stop bringing back Deadpool, and... well, no, I want to put this in perspective. By the start of the next season, season 7, we will be at 120 death battles in total. How many has Deadpool appeared in? Let's see. Deadpool vs. Deathstroke, Deadpool vs. Pinkie Pie, Thanos vs. Darkseid, Ghost Rider vs. Lobo, and Deadpool vs. the Mask. 5. 120. He's only appeared in 5. And everyone's like, stop bringing him back. When you really think about it, it's just like... is it really that much? Then again, I don't mind seeing Deadpool, so it could just be... it's just one of those things where it's like, I hear a complaint and I don't really, like, it doesn't, like, necessarily click with me, or it's a thing that just does not bother me in the slightest, so I just don't entirely get it. Like, it's an on me thing, I think, but if it bothers you, then okay, fine, but I'm just giving, like, my perspective on it and whatnot. So, yeah. I guess in 3 weeks, oh! Had I not mentioned this? So, they mentioned on FBLcast that they're teaming up with the Rooster Teeth 2D department to make the next fight. You know what that means? It is going to be a hand-drawn episode. So, that's bound to be entertaining. And then after that we have the season finale. So, it's a fun idea. Place your bets on what the season finale is going to be, because I'm curious. I have my predictions and whatnot, but then again, I also kind of predicted Deadpool vs. Dante, and look what happened. So I still kind of want that fight. But no offense to anyone who wants a Deadpool vs. The Mask, it's just I don't really know The Mask that well. I think all I've really seen of him is when I was at my friend's house and he had, like, the Mask movie on for a bit. That's it. That's all I know. Very, very little. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching, all of that stuff. And I mentioned this will be a surprise at the end of my RWBY Volume 7 Chapter 1 reaction. But considering most of you just watch these videos, here's a new outro. Bye.
This is Ruby Rose, and you've been watching Your Only Mate. Bye!